This person betrayed you for a reason, but not the reason you think. And if you're listening to this, chances are you still replay that moment in your mind, again and again, like a scene you can't pause, like a question that refuses to end. The silence after their betrayal wasn't just empty, it was loud. It echoed in your thoughts, in your chest, in the way you started questioning your worth. You keep asking yourself, why me? What did I do wrong? Was I not enough? But what if the real answer has nothing to do with your worth, and everything to do with something far deeper inside them and inside you? Because psychology suggests something uncomfortable, something most people never want to accept. Betrayal is rarely random. It often reveals hidden fractures in human behavior, unresolved fears, unconscious desires, emotional immaturity, or even suppressed parts of the self that Jung called the shadow. And yet, that doesn't make it easier. It makes it more confusing. Because if it wasn't about you, why does it still hurt like it was? Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the opinion of others is their problem. But when betrayal comes from someone you trusted, that idea collapses. Suddenly, philosophy feels distant, and pain feels personal. So now you're stuck between two truths. One says you should let go. The other refuses to understand how someone could do this to you in the first place. And that's where the real psychological trap begins. Because what if the betrayal was never just about losing someone, but about revealing something you were never ready to see about human nature itself? So the real question is not why did they betray you, but rather, what did this betrayal awaken inside you that you can never unsee again? In the beginning, it never feels like betrayal is possible. You don't fall in love with caution, you fall with belief. You build a story where this person becomes a safe place, a predictable presence in an unpredictable world. That is the illusion your mind creates, stability through attachment. Carl Jung would say, this is where projection begins. You don't just see them, you see what you need them to be. And slowly, without noticing, you stop loving them and start loving the version of them your mind designed for survival. That's why betrayal feels like a collapse, not just a loss. Because what breaks isn't just trust, it's identity. Think about it. The same person who made you feel chosen also became the reason you felt discarded. The same voice that once gave you comfort becomes the silence that now disturbs your sleep. A real-life truth hides here. Most people don't betray who you are. They betray the role you assigned them in your emotional world. Nietzsche warned about this when he said, "He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster." But sometimes the real monster isn't them. It's the illusion you refuse to question. And when that illusion breaks, your mind searches for logic in chaos. But betrayal rarely follows logic. It follows human weakness, fear, ego, desire, avoidance. You start asking, how could they change so fast? But the truth is slower. They didn't change suddenly. You just finally saw what was already there. And that realization cuts deeper than the betrayal itself. Because once the illusion breaks, you are forced into the next stage of pain. Was it ever real? Or was I just blind to what was always true? Betrayal is often not an act of love lost, but a conflict within the self that was never resolved. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the parts of a person they refuse to acknowledge, desire they deny, insecurity they hide, emotions they suppress until they leak out in destructive ways. When someone betrays you, it is often not about choosing you or someone else. It is about their inability to remain whole within themselves. They fracture, and you become collateral damage of that internal war. You might remember moments before it happened, small inconsistencies, emotional distance, unexplained changes, but you ignored them, Not because you were naive, but because acceptance would have meant facing uncertainty. Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering, but attachment is not just emotional, it is psychological dependence on predictability. A relatable truth: people often stay in relationships not because they are happy, but because the fear of loss is louder than the discomfort of truth. And then betrayal arrives like a sudden storm, but it was forming long before you saw the clouds. Here is the uncomfortable insight. They didn't betray you because you were lacking. They betrayed because they were fragmented. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." But in moments like this, the way is not healing yet. It is confusion. You begin to realize something painful. You were trying to love someone who was not internally stable enough to hold love without distortion. And so the next question emerges, heavier than the first. If their actions were shaped by their inner chaos, why does it still feel so personal? Here is where psychology becomes uncomfortable, because betrayal doesn't just reveal the other person, it reveals you. Not in a blaming way, but in a reflective way. Every deep emotional wound activates what psychology calls attachment memory. Old fears resurface. Childhood insecurities whisper again. The mind doesn't just process the present, it replays the past through it. This is why betrayal feels disproportionately large. It is not just this moment hurting you. It is every moment you were ever left, ignored, or replaced. Collapsing into one emotional point, Nietzsche believed suffering transforms the strong into something greater, but only if they stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this turning me into?" A real-life pattern appears here. After betrayal, people either close their hearts permanently or begin rebuilding emotional awareness they never had before. Both reactions are survival, but only one leads to growth. Think of someone who once trusted blindly. After betrayal, they become cautious. Not cold, just awake. They start seeing patterns they ignored before. They notice inconsistencies they once romanticized. Camus would call this confrontation with the absurd, the realization that life does not owe fairness, clarity, or emotional justice. And yet, you continue seeking meaning anyway. That is the paradox of human psychology. We suffer and still demand understanding from the same suffering. But here is the turning point. The betrayal was not only about loss, it was about exposure. It exposed how deeply you attached your peace to someone else's behavior. And now the most difficult realization arrives. Maybe the pain was not just about them leaving, but about what they awakened in you when they did. There is a final truth most people resist. Not everyone you love is meant to stay. Not every connection is designed for permanence. Some people enter your life not to complete you, but to interrupt a version of you that no longer serves your growth. Buddha spoke about impermanence, not as loss, but as reality. Everything that forms will dissolve. The more you resist this, the more suffering multiplies. Betrayal feels personal because you believed permanence was promised. But in truth, nothing emotional is ever guaranteed. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say." Not as fear, but as clarity. Because attachment loses power when you understand its temporary nature. Think of someone who once broke you. Years later, you realize they didn't destroy your life. They redirected it. What felt like an ending was actually a violent redirection toward awareness you were not yet ready for. Jung would say, individuation begins in fragmentation. You become whole not by avoiding pain, but by integrating it. And so betrayal becomes paradoxical. It destroys illusion, but builds perception. You stop seeing love as possession and start seeing it as experience. You stop asking for closure from others and begin creating closure within yourself. But even now, something remains unresolved, because understanding pain does not always erase it, and so you are left with this final emotional tension. If they were never meant to stay, why did it feel like losing them meant losing yourself? Maybe betrayal was never just about someone leaving you. Maybe it was about the moment your mind could no longer hide from reality. Because once you see how fragile attachment can be, you never see love the same way again. You begin to understand that people are not fixed, relationships are not guaranteed, and even trust is a living thing, breathing, shifting, breaking without warning. But the deeper truth is not about them. It is about what remained after they were gone: silence, awareness, and a version of you that now sees more than it used to. Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." But perhaps it is more accurate to say, it makes us more aware of what was always unstable. And now you are left with a question that no philosophy fully answers, no psychology fully resolves. If betrayal was necessary for clarity, then who were you before the truth? And who are you becoming now that you can never unsee it?